As that you can't see the picture when you're the frame. So it's really easy for me to look and see what they're like inside and how they've grown. So I hope that you're able to see that too from what they share. But I'm going to ask them each where their business was before they started working in there. They're all the way from Janice to Joan. They're in my private mastermind, which is a group, and we meet in person. And then we also meet on the phone a couple times a month. We have a process where they work with one another with an accountability partner, so they're able to be held accountable for what they say they're going to do. And well, they're only supposed to check in and say, did you get this done? What you got going on? They're doing a lot more than that because they're making real connections and they're helping somebody support them in a way that they wouldn't always find. And then I've been working with Chris. Chris has been a private client of mine for maybe more than a year now. I can't remember how long we've been working together. And so Chris just has a different perspective, and I just wanted you to hear about that. I know some people have asked me about coaching with me and also about the mastermind, so I thought this would be a good way to do that. So let's start with Brenda. Start in the middle. So can you share what your business was like before we started working together, and then, what's really happened as a result of being in the mastermind?
Where was I? Well, I was alone, and that's a really bad place to be as a new business person, not, without direction. Finding some people who would help. I had one person in Canada that gave me good sound advice, from the heart without any slant to it. I didn't know anything, and I still don't know a lot, but I didn't know really a thing. I didn't know how to proceed with technologies. I didn't know anything about social media. I didn't have any practical advice coming at me from anybody. I was in Canada and I was alone working in my basement. So that's a picture. So Janice actually told me to come here. I was at a checker open house and Janice was there, and she said, you've got to come to CABS and see Morna. And because Janice told me to do it, I did. And because I didn't know what to do. I really didn't know how to proceed with the business. Now, you can build things up to a certain extent on your own and do a reasonably good job of it. But you can't possibly know all things. So since I joined, came to CABS, became part of Mastermind, I was one of these individuals that had their website looked at last year. So the website got a total revamp, and I did a new logo and branding. I hired a virtual assistant for a short while to help me with that. And that was an interesting experience. These are all good things, though. You're laughing over there. Gee, there's a lot that went on in the past year. I started my e-zine. I have an award for being one of the top 10% of these e-zine people on Constant Contact. Awesome. Which I thought, well, that's really funny. I know there's a ton more. What else did I do, Morna?
Well, how do you feel personally inside?
I do feel, you tell people, well, I'm a designer, and they look at you and they go, but now I feel like a designer. I have the knowledge, and I do design these things that people love, but I feel more of a part. I feel genuine. And I have the confidence to talk about it, and I have the more confidence now to talk to people in my quilting environment that I'm out to see, and I can share with others too, which is really, really important in Mastermind. You've got a tight little group, and you got them for, what, 10 months, are we? A 10-month process?
It's a year.
Okay. And the best part of Mastermind, I think, is connecting with your accountability partner, so you have them for 2 or 3 months, and you're back and forth, and Morna says you're just supposed to say, what are you doing today, and did you get yesterday's work done? But there's a lot more to it than that. If there's any kind of issue that's come up or new technology problem or whatever, we can Yeah, the flood in the basement, yeah, that was bad. Or you're looking for a name, you want to hire somebody to do this or that, who do I go to? So you've got all those resources with you here in CABS, and you'll be on your Facebook page, so you've got that going for you too. And boy, there's an awful lot. It's a great confidence builder.
Where do you think that you would be if you hadn't joined the mastermind?
Oh, about the same place. About the same place, I think. I'm still wondering, what to do and which direction to go, and
With 3 or 4 blogs
yeah,
and a website that was all over the place.
yeah. So it was pretty messy. So you learn to tighten up your business.
So if
Work
somebody,
smart.
if somebody was thinking about the mastermind, which we'll tell them about later, what would you tell them?
Yeah, you should go for it. What can I say? Well, it depends on what you want to accomplish. Do you want to accomplish a lot in a little time? That's relatively painless, without making a lot of mistakes and having to do things 2 or 3 times, and have fun while you're doing it.
And meet great people.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them.
Yeah, your connections. I think you believe that the connections are something that you wouldn't have really gotten otherwise.
Yeah, and you need that in business, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
How about Rhonda?
Okay.
So can you tell us where your business was before and then where it's come in the last year?
Well, I was coming off a really hectic year, and I was just downright tired. Like everyone else, multitasking. And so when I signed up with Morna's mastermind group, first my big aha was, oh my gosh, I am not alone anymore. That I don't have to know everything, and that through Morna, that there's a wealth of information that I can just tap into. So I am not alone. I mean, what a basic message, but really quite powerful. I want to bring to your attention that the structure, that through Morna's training, I brought a lot more structure to my daily work life. Through time blocking, through using the daily calendar. Yes, I've used calendars before, but now I have a whole system. And don't let the word system scare you, but I have my own routine now. And my day begins with customer service. So like from 7:30 to 9:15, 9:30, I am reviewing all those orders, I'm following up with the customers. It's all customer service oriented. Every day begins with customer service. And then I move on to my daily tasks that have been written out on the Friday before that work week. What are my intentions for the upcoming new week? And I slot them out per day. And it is fluid. On some Mondays, maybe I'll be lucky to check one thing off, but then I can move them to Tuesday or Wednesday. So at the end of the week, I can say, oh my gosh, I really did check off a lot of things. So it's helped to keep me focused. It's helped my clarity, and it's really helped me produce quality work, I think. And through my interactions with my different accountability partners, I've felt courage to try new things. One of the things that I did earlier in the year was to partner up with Berta Style to do a prize a day for Smets Meals, and oh wow, that was, that's when I learned you need to delegate your work. Now I paid big time to work with Berta Style, but the benefit of increasing my reach to the Smets Meals sewing audience was priceless. So I'm not alone. Courage, confidence, and accountability were my big takeaways.
I think you were also somebody who did things much faster than you expected to get them done.
Oh yes. Yeah, now I'm wondering. Because of the group, I have started a newsletter. Well, last year, my focus has been on developing my mailing list. I mean, come on, Smets needles. Who does not use Smets needles in the room? Most everyone does. So it's like, how do I lasso all of you and onto my mailing list? If you haven't signed up, you need to. It's at the top of my page on the right side of smetsneedles.com. So my mailing list, I've been collecting, you go to Quilt Market, you collect all those business cards, and then what do? They collect dust. But I was able to delegate and brought in a high schooler to input those thousands of business cards. So now I have mailing lists for consumers, guilds, designers, educators, industry professionals, and then of course my distributor list. So besides the newsletter, which I'm not perfect yet, and yeah, I do need to get on Morna's schedule yet because my newsletter is not yet monthly. I think that will be changing, but I did have the courage to commit to a 12-month digital easing that I send out to the stores. They've enrolled for it. There's no charge for it. The intent was to, after listening to so many stores and listening about their time crunch or they don't know what to write, I thought, oh, I can step in and maybe help them out, and also subtly promote needle education and our products. So I've got the Inspired to Sew digital easing, which goes out monthly, and stores have 2 months to use it, and then it's archived at the first of the 2 months later. So, and that's part of the result of all of this collaborative energy.
Yeah, I just remember in the very beginning, Rhonda had projects, and she said, well, for 2014, I want to do this. And then we had our second meeting, and she said, this was in September, and she said, well, I've already done that. Remember that? I need new projects. So she was moving along much faster.
She was going to be bored.
Yeah, she was afraid she was going to be bored.
Well, there are some activities that Morna has had us do, the Colby test and some other tests, and I had all these aha moments, and then you realize, well, that is kind of how I work, and then it's, how do I structure my time so that I can meet my goals?
Yeah.
So.
Now, if somebody was interested in being in the mastermind or another program, what would you?
Oh, go for it. It is an investment in time and money. You get as much from it as you put into it, and I went gung-ho, and I would be happy to do it again, and highly recommend. I know there's a lot of growing businesses here, pattern designers or stores. It's a great way to get grounded and find your focus and to help put structure into your long-term and short-term goals.
Great, thank you. Let's pass that down to Chris. Put Chris on the spot earlier and asked if she would join us. So Chris, why don't you tell us where your business was before we started working together, and then what's really happened as a result?
Okay, before I was slogging along, just generating patterns, folding. I actually was doing a lot of folding myself, kind of hit and miss with hiring somebody to, even though it's my son, but hit and miss with getting somebody else to do things. I was shipping, I was not sleeping. So met Morna at Quilt Market and talked with her and kept reading about the coaching. And since we've gotten together, she has really talked me into delegating, which got my husband into. He may not like her that much, but it got my husband into it. I'm kidding, because he loves this stuff. So he loves shipping, he loves logistics, and this has been fun for him. The nice thing for me is every 2 weeks, if we stay on schedule, I get to have my own Success and Strategy Summit with Morna. And when she mentioned it, that you should do it at the end of the week, I'm like, I don't have to, I can wait till I talk to Morna. Which I should probably do it more often myself, but it is, when I do a write-up for Morna, just so she knows what's going on. And it's based on the previous one, so I can start to see, oh, okay, that's done, this is done, and it gives me a place to put all my goals, my upcoming goals, and a result of that has been, the last time we renewed, so this is our second series of coaching. My husband had said, because I said, I don't know if I should do this again, he goes, you should definitely do this. So it was a good endorsement from my husband, so anyways.
Now, I know that there's things that have happened that would not necessarily have happened in your business.
Right. We did, we talked about this last year, we did the East Coast pattern designers, and Morna was, helped us kind of get that together in that she encouraged, yeah, and it's the booth hop we did at Portland, and it was 12 designers, and we just had people run around and have their passports stamped, and we just kept on track. Part of it was I was keeping track with Morna with keeping the project going, and also I mentioned doing the lunch and learn, which was, and I don't know if I explained it very well when I talked about it during our introductions yesterday, but the lunch and learn was me inviting area shops to experience the unusual materials that I use hands-on, so that and what I found was a lot of people, if I'd be in their shop, that somebody might ask them about this material, and the shop owner would say, I don't know, ask Chris. Because they put it on the shelf, and you don't necessarily want to open up that package to try it, so I thought, maybe I can invite a bunch of people to just try these materials themselves, and it was just a quickie, little sample that they tried, but it really worked, and I actually did feel like they really are much more loyal to me now with just giving them that education. It wasn't a sales pitch, it was just try this, and showed them some new things that are coming out, so it was a little bit of a, a surprise for them to see some new stuff. And I would never have done that without Morna's help. And I had thought, I would do a regular class, and she kind of talked me through, just have them do a little demo. You don't have to have them bring their sewing machines and all that, so. And
what did that do to your confidence?
Oh, it really was through the roof. In fact, my checker rep called me and said, what did you do to these people? So it was really nice to have that, and
you've
a lot of fun.
You've got people who during this lunch and learn said, when's the date next year, right?
And they did. They said, you got to do this next year. Can you do it in 6 months? And I'm thinking, I don't know if I can do it in 6 months, but we'll definitely do it next year. And I have a new spot picked out, because actually the spot that I had was too small for the number of people who actually came, because some shops brought 2 or 3 people because they wanted their teachers to learn too. And it was of the personal touch, and it was really fun. I had a lot of fun, and it was nice to have 3 hours, and then it was done. So I don't know how Morna does 3 days. I'm telling you, 3 hours was good, because I felt like, phew.
What day of the week?
I did it on a Monday morning, and the only risk was, it was Monday morning in February. It happened to be a sunny morning without any snow. Oh. It was magical, because the whole winter has been snow every day. So, and I actually did it. This was interesting. I did it at a shop. Had a big classroom, and she said, you can use my classroom. And initially some of the shop owners said, I'm not going to her shop. But then they heard that other people were going, and they did go. So it was really, it was fun, and I never would have done it if you hadn't said you should just go for it. So.
Did you charge for the class?
I did, and I wasn't going to charge, but Morna said, you gotta charge at least for your time. So I charged, it was a minimal amount, and it covered lunch, so that I wasn't buying lunch, out of my pocket, and it just covered incidentals. So I charged $25 per person. But for a shop came from Massachusetts. It was an hour drive for her. She brought 2 other people, so it was a $75 investment for her, and her trust in me to show them some new stuff. And so the neat thing about that was this particular woman who brought her 2 teachers have brought me so much on Facebook now because I did that. And now they're like, oh, like Chris, and they're friends, you know. So
more things than you really expected.
yeah. So it was really interesting.
So if somebody's thinking about wanting to be in any kind of coaching program, you would say?
Definitely do it. It keeps you on track, keeps you focused. And you can do your success and strategy stuff every 2 weeks.
I'm not gonna check on you every week, but. So Joan and I have been working together for longer than anybody in the room.
Yeah, that's probably true.
It is true, because you were one of my, I don't remember what number client you were, but you were in the first 10, let's just say you were
Memorable.
You were one of my, probably one of the first 10 clients I had. I mean, you were really one of my earlier clients.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, we just.
I was on a guinea pig, is that, this is what you
Wait, we know the guinea pig was the first one, and she's the one who recommended you, so.
So going, you want me to turn on the Wayback Machine and go back there?
It's not, we don't want to spend all afternoon, but you
No.
can just talk about where you, we can talk about where you were and just what
Well,
happened.
turning on the Wayback Machine, my relationship with Morna started, I think it was fall book market a few years back, I don't know, that's not relevant. I went to lunch with Shelley Stokes, I don't know if any of you know her, she does Paint Sticks, Cedar Canyon Textiles is her company. And we went to lunch and I was spitting rocks and bullets because my business had just gone through a serious transition. My exclusive relationship with my exclusive relationship with Brewer ended abruptly without notice, and I was struggling with that. And went to lunch with Shelley, nearly bit up everybody's head and the table at legs too during that lunch, and Shelley said, you need to shed this junk. And she said, go talk to Morna, and here's her booth number. So I don't know, I think I had calmed down by the time I saw you and said, Shelley said I need to talk to you because I have a bad attitude. And Morna said, okie dokie, and we started working together shortly after that. And first as a coaching client, and like I said, we got, 3-4 days ago when we first got here, you didn't change today either, by the way. We got back from
This is day 4, isn't it?
Yeah. 2 outfits, 4 days, it's kind of embarrassing, but so where was I? Oh, so we started working together first as a coaching client, and it really helped me get focused. That focus word seems to be coming up over and over again, but literally I was like a fish flopping around on a deck. No idea where to go. I basically had to start all over, make new connections. I knew I could do it, but I didn't know how. And so that really helped me focus and step by step and take a step back and take a step forward, take 3 steps forward, and then before you knew it, CABS happened. And then this opportunity came up a year ago. And if you're, I may answer your last question first. You know, like in here, if you're thinking about this, ignore the stuff that's stopping, the things that you're putting yourself in the way, like the money and all that stuff, because there's payment plans, and yes, it's a lot of money, and yes, it's a lot of time. But you mentioned something at lunch today. I think we're feeling, if I was confident last year after being in a coaching program, I'm 10 times more confident now. And that's because I'm not alone. I have the accountability partners help to keep you focused. You get up in the morning, you know you're struggling with what's all this stuff on your to-do list for the day, and the first conversation is with a soft landing and a friendly voice who knows exactly what you're going through, and you know, we're both able to step back and say, okay, so this isn't so bad, let's tackle this, and so this is what you need to do today, and forget that. And it works, it's two-sided, it's kind of an amazing thing. And they're all nodding, because we've all been in, and either, none of you know which one I'm talking about, but because it happened with all of us, well, except for Janice, because I haven't had her as an accountability partner yet, so I'm sure it'll happen too.
Tuesday.
So, it's just, there's nothing, it's not really, it's very difficult to describe, other than there's more focus, more goals, you learn so much about yourself, and I know these people better than I know anybody else in the industry, and they know me, better than anybody else in the industry as well, and that's a really gut level good feeling.
And you've actually done a lot of things that you might not have done
Holy
in your
cow!
business.
Oh my God, yes. Stuff, like I said, video strategy was on my to-do list last year, and that showed up, and a third book showed up, and setting goals to look at consumer shows. That's, one day I said, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta do it, so I placed some calls, hiring a virtual assistant. Yeah, I didn't wanna do that, but that was a good thing. Shut up. Stop napping at that. Morna said, so I had to do it, So yeah, a lot of things that I did that no way, no how would I have done it without this experience.
Thanks. Let's see, Daphne. We should tell people too that this is your first time at CABS.
This is my first time at CABS, but I've known Morna for many, many years. I ran across Morna at Market, signed up for the Professional Quilter newsletter, read it avidly, had a business partner at that point, and the mailing address was her address, so I made sure that I got that magazine, and she didn't hang on to it. I think actually I have them all. I ended up with them, which is really good. And I was, about 2 years ago, my business partner decided she didn't want to be part of Patchwork Studio anymore, and that's more or less what she said to me. I don't want to be part of Patchwork Studio anymore. That was the conversation. No, hi, how you doing, whatever. So that was a real kick in the gut. I knew not to take it personally, but I didn't know what I was going to do. So I had to start thinking, do I want to be Patchwork Studio? And if so, what is that? Where do I go from here? Do I go back to the corporate world? Not on your life. I had a taste of being my own boss, and I just didn't want to change that. But I needed money. We have a mortgage. I got to pay the bills. And I followed Morna and watched what she was doing, and I saw a change in her, and thought, obviously she's doing something right. She knows how to do this. And when the mastermind came along, I thought, yeah, it's.
You said someone could cry.
Usually it's Morna.
Your turn next.
This is the absolute right time for this for me. I always felt that I wasn't the big picture thinker in the business, and that I didn't think big goals. And that was one of the things in the questionnaire. I think there was a question about that. I thought, that's what I need. I need those people who can, help me think big. Not that I hadn't done big things, but there's always more big to do. And that's what I wanted. I wanted someone to help me focus on that. Figure out, what are those big things you can do? How can you be more? How can you be successful, but how can you feel good about it? That it was the feeling about it, not just the work. I knew what I liked to do. I knew what I hated to do. Some of those things that I didn't like to do, they're gone. I don't do them anymore. And this group, these are just the ultimate professional, sharing, knowledgeable women. I couldn't ask for a better group. They say that, you're the people you hang around with. These are the people I want to hang around with.
So I'm just going to
Ask me a question.
I want you to gather your thoughts, and this will just reiterate what you said, and what I've told people before is that my experience in the mastermind is that the people I'm in the group with think bigger things for me than I think for myself.
So
And it's kind of, it gets you emotional because you're thinking, well, why aren't I thinking this big? I think I'm thinking big, but they just see so much for you than you do, and you go for it because you've got this backup system here.
Yeah, these guys have my back. Yeah. If I stumble, something doesn't go right, they're there to find the good part of it, and keep you moving forward. You know, if something goes wrong, they're there for you to encourage you. And your family is there, but they're not living it. They're not doing the day-to-day, and they see you in a different way than these ladies do. It's just different. So if you're thinking about it, everybody won't cry when they come up here.
That's okay, I might. No, thank you, yeah. Where do you think you'd be if you hadn't joined the group?
Oh, I'd be fumbling. I really wouldn't have known what to do. I think I wouldn't be trusting myself to do things. I wouldn't have the courage to say no to some things. I would think that I would have to do everything. The only way to be successful is to do everything. And I have the courage now to pick and choose what I do want to do and see it, whether it is of value and not of value. I've been teaching locally for 15, 16 years. This fall, I am not teaching locally. I've realized that this isn't making me any money. What makes me the money is when I go to guilds or out of town. I'm the out of town rock star. At home, I'm just the quilter down the street. Yes, okay, so she makes patterns and stuff. But I'm not the star, and I like being the star. You know, don't you all want to be star? So sometimes local, you know, I'm going to miss the students that are the local students. I'll miss that. But I have these guys. They're not students, but they're the people that I see. I'm not stuck at home alone, never meeting anybody. So I don't think I'll miss that.
Great, they're your champions.
Yeah.
Janice.
Hi.
So, how about you? What was your business like before? And where are you now? Now,
I've not done my A-zine every week like she wanted.
bet you're going to.
Okay, so I'm going to give you one of the goals that I wrote down. I think you read it this morning.
Okay.
So this is something that's been rolling around in my head just a couple of weeks. And when the panel got up here yesterday, I still was thinking, well, this will be interesting, but I'm not interested in the book. But that really wasn't true, because in the back of my mind, I had been writing this book. Hilarious. It's like Jack saying, I was thinking about video, and they said, would you like to do a video? Yeah, so. Anyway, I'm looking ahead to when the book is finished, because you had us write that on the card, and I'm thinking, well, nobody will buy it if I don't promote it, and to promote it, I need to work on my e-zine. Okay, so I'm coming at it backwards, as usual, but I guess I probably really need to do that. First, you got to admit you need to do it. Well, I will say that I've sent out twice as many newsletters or emails. You know, e-zines. I've done twice as many this last year that I did any previous year.
So you're making progress.
Yeah, so I did like 4 or 5 instead of 2. I just did one before each market. You know, I'm that person. I don't want to bug them. Okay, I got the message. I can bug them.
Okay.
Anyway, next question. What's different? I work a lot smarter. I work just as hard, but I work a lot smarter now. I work differently than I did before. I there's so many people, there's so many people that say things to me that are really not very nice. They don't mean to not be nice, but they say, I hate you. How do you get so much done? You get done more than anybody else I know. How do you get so much done? I don't know, but I wasn't necessarily working smart. And I feel like now I'm getting twice as much done as I used to. And I know it's because I've implemented all these somebody's little suggestions. I guess they work. But I really do. I actually accomplish more now than I ever have. And it's a good thing, because, you know, I kind of wear more than one hat, so it's necessary.
So where do you think you'd be if you weren't part of this group?
Oh, gee. You know, the relationships that form in a tight-knit group like this are pretty special. And I felt that water pouring through the basement in Brenda's house. And I felt when that printer broke.
I wish you could have been there.
and when she was saying, I can get 2 more patterns done before market, and I'm saying, Brenda, calm down. No, just lay that aside. You can speak truth into somebody's life in a way with this kind of sincerity and honesty that you would never, you know, I would never speak boldly and that honestly to somebody that wasn't in that kind of relationship. And I could say to her, just work on the rebranding, just work on just do this, just, you know, so you can speak truth, and that's so valuable.
So what's your favorite part of being in the group?
That's really tough. It's multifaceted. I don't know that I can pick a part. But it's very true that you're not alone. I don't have good cell service everywhere I go, and I'm not able to pick up the phone and call Brenda because she's in Canada. But I can send her an email and she can call me. You know, I've talked to Joan on the road. I've got cell service right now, talk fast. So, it's just been nice. It's just been nice to have that camaraderie and to know that if I get in a bind or if I have a question or an issue, that somebody's, you know, somebody's.
One of them's gonna be around, right? Yeah.
We might even know the answer.
And has it been really nice to have somebody who actually celebrates your success with you?
Yeah, the phone calls, our twice a month phone calls, being able to highlight, because, you know, I'm one of those, you know, it's off the list, I'm on to the next thing, and I don't celebrate, and that's been helpful.
So if somebody was thinking about signing up, what
You
would
just gotta bite the bullet, you know? It's the skin in the game. The harder you work, the more you're gonna accomplish, you know? And one of the ways of forcing yourself into working harder is to put your money where your mouth is.
Okay. Anybody want to add?
It's, you know, Joan talked about the investment of money and stuff. It's an investment in you and in your business, and you are worth it. That's, you know, no one, unless we have some miracle fairy that's gonna come and throw money at us, that's not gonna happen. So it's us. We make of our business what we want it to be, and if we don't invest in ourselves, who is going to? Someone else is not going to come along and invest in you unless you become Apple or a public company or something. So it's worth investing in yourself in whatever tools and training and information will get you to the level you want to be. And that's how I looked at it. I thought, you know, I haven't put a lot of money into this business over the years. It's time. I had the money. I said, it's time to invest in me, and well worth it.
Thanks,
Well said.
thank you. Got this microphone with somebody else wants
You
to
have
say
one
anything.
on.
I have a microphone on. I wanted to thank you all for just sharing your experiences. I know they had different things that they liked, each had different things, but I think what we talked about at lunch is that I can see how you are all more confident. Just, to me, they just exude more confidence when, I mean, I've known you all for a year or many years. Some of us really do go back, Stephanie and I go back to probably the late 90s. And I can just see when they talk about their businesses or when they're engaging with customers. I only see them with their customers at Quilt Market, but I can see them that they have confidence that I didn't see that same level before. So for me, I don't really know about Brenda's flood in the basement, so, but I can see just what they look like, and it just really touches me that what you've all done. So.
Thank you, Morna, from all of us. And I don't know that we say that often enough.
Yeah, very true.
You're welcome.
Our hats off to you.
Well, I love you guys, you know. So, how about a little fun? So was that inspiring or not?
Yes.
Yes. Couldn't you see yourself doing what they do? It's like if you hear that somebody's doing something, and then you think, wow, if they're doing it, I can do it, because they're not any different from the rest of you, right? We're all the same.
I'm just.
Joan is different. Joan is always different, in a good way.
Don't let Joan scare you off. Joan is a really great accountability partner.
Yeah.
Believe me, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more bark than bite.
I'm more bark than bite.
No, it's the birds.
The birds.
The birds, yeah. No bark.
So I had a quote I wanted to share that I wrote down. This is a quote from Tony Robbins, and he says, "There's always room in your life for thinking bigger, pushing your limits, and imagining the impossible." So I'm thinking that's really where you were before, and everybody's thinking so much bigger, but really imagining the impossible, and then we find out it's not so impossible. So I know that everybody came to this workshop for different reasons, but I think you all came for one of the same reasons, and that's because you had a bigger vision for your company, and you wanted to see what you could do with that vision. You wanted to get supported in that. So you really have to keep learning and investing in yourself. And I know Daphne said you need to have skin in the game. And I know when I first thought about being in a mastermind, I actually tried it without a formal setup. Did this with a friend, and we'd just been meeting casually, and we always talked about business. And then I said, well, let's try this formally. So we decided to do this, and we set up times, and it lasted, I'm not sure how many months, but we didn't really have any skin in the game, so to speak. It was like, yeah, well, we'll get together, but then things got in the way. So we weren't really committed to do this. These women are really committed to do this. It's kind of like that, the story about bacon. We still have, eggs and bacon. You know, who's committed and who's not committed? The pig's committed. The chicken's just interested. So the question is, are you the pig or the chicken? You know, not to say that you're pigs. These people are committed to what they're doing. You didn't like my story, okay. Yeah, it's about being committed, and they're committed, and so, that level of commitment shows in everything that they do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I know that you've experienced this in a sense that when you're in a room with people who are thinking big, you actually shift yourself. And I think this is something that they all experienced, this shift in how they looked at their business, how they looked at themselves, and that happened because they were working with other people. And you can see that yourself out here. I know there's been shifts in this room just because of what you've been doing in here.
Can I add something?
Sure.
You need a microphone?
She has a microphone, but we won't let her keep it too long.
The only that, as you were saying that, what crossed my mind is you know, when you, I don't know if there's any golfers in the room, I'm not a golfer, but when you hit the golf ball just right, you know it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same experience. We're still learning, we're still growing, we still have lots more to do, but a year ago, I'd be duffing the ball. And now I feel like I'm hitting the ball. I may not be getting it on the green every time. I'm hitting it right, and it goes right at my arms, and I know the feeling, and it's fun. It's fun when you have, it's certainly more fun to have focus and direction and, know what your day is and finish that day knowing that your call with your accountability partner is gonna be something that is a good call, and and even if it's not a good call, you know that you plan too much, and it's just a way to stay busy and feel good at the end, that you're not just unfocused busy. We're all busy, that busy, but here it's focused busy, and that this group helps you stay on track, and it's more fun.
Yeah, I think your business is more fun. This does make your business more fun. You really know, you're experiencing your why in a different way right here every day. So thanks. So that's a little bit about what's happened to them and what I see actually happening right here in this group, which is very exciting too. I think I mentioned that to Alyssa about how I love seeing what's happening just to people here. So I know everybody's got a Slinky on their table and they're kind of wondering what it's for, but don't pick it up yet. So I think we'll see what happens with that. Let's thank everybody for